Hi guys, Jon Watts here from the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me at Drayton Park in my swing studio, and today I wanted to talk to you about pitching distances. So by pitching I'm talking about a ball that's spending more of its time up in the air. Generally we're using a lofted club, so here I've got my 58 degree. I carry 3 wedges, so I've got a pitching wedge which is at 47 degrees, a 52 degree gap wedge and a 58 degree sand wedge / lob wedge. I think you either need 3 or 4 wedges, or if your name's Phil Mickelson, maybe even up to 5 wedges. That's when people are carrying all those sort of 62, 64 degrees. Most UK courses, I would say up to 58, 60 degree is pretty adequate. The 3 to 4 wedge system, just to quickly touch on, if you were using a stronger lofted pitching wedge, lots of the manufacturers now are building pitching wedges near a 45 degree, and you want to be using up to 60 degrees your highest loft, you're really going to need a 4 wedge system. So something like a 45, 50, 55 and 60 to have a nice progression. At your average club head speed, 1 degree of loft makes around 2.5 yards of distance gap. So we want to try and keep sort of 15-ish yards between clubs. I would say up to 20 between your wedges is fine, but much more than that can get us into some real difficulty. So I've got, as I said, a 3 wedge system, 47 to 52, so a 5 degree gap, a 52 to 58, so a 6 degree gap, to try and keep everything as consistent as possible. What I wanted to touch on and talk about today, as I said, was pitching distances and how we control that. And we do need a method. I find too many golfers don't really have a method, and it's more of a visual look at it, maybe look at the yardage or use perhaps their Sky Caddy, their Bushnell, their laser, get a yardage, but they don't really know what that equates to. They all tell me they're a feel player. Now, definitely we want some feel in there, but there also needs to be some knowledge on how far we want to swing the golf club back and how far we want to swing the golf club through to produce a certain distance. So I think there has to be a blend of technical as well as natural gauging it with your eye or your feel of swing length. So for a lot of golfers here, I make them up swing charts. So I've actually got mine. And I've got 3 wedges. I know you won't be able to see this, but I've got 3 wedges, and I've got 5 swing lengths I work to. So knee height, pocket, hip, chest, and full. So I'm obviously using a body position to dictate how far I'm swinging the golf club back. In terms of the follow through, I just want the follow through to be at least as long as the backswing, if not longer. So there's some coaches I know, a Dave Pelt's method, who works more on the clock face position as he's swinging back, which is another method. So he talks about 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and your left arm for a right-handed player, your lead arm being the hour timer on the clock face. So we can make a 7:30 backswing, a 9 o'clock backswing, a 10:30 backswing position. But what he talks about is whatever swing length back, go through so the club is vertical. The benefit of that is we know we're accelerating, and a lot of amateurs' faults is decelerating. I tend to see that because they make a backswing that they know somewhere in there that is too long for the length of shot they've got, and they swing back too far and end up quitting on it, trying to put the brakes on. So they're applying more grip pressure on the downswing to try and stop or slow the club. I don't mind too much where the swing length finishes, as long as it's at least as long or longer than the backswing. Okay, so how far back? At least the same or longer through. As I said, I work to more body positions. So I work on a knee height, which is where the club head gets to. So it's almost like a chipping action or the start of the takeaway move. Okay, so the club is at my knee height. It's pretty low to the ground. I work on a pocket height here, which is the end of the grip pointing at my pocket, okay, and the club is parallel to the ground. Those who work more on swing lengths, or Mac O'Grady fans out there, will know that more as P2, so when the club shaft is parallel to the ground. I work on a hip height, so where my hand gets to my hip bone, my left arm is more parallel to the ground. again, that would be more of a P3. So you could even work on it in a position of a P2, P3, etc., which is the Mach-O'Grady approach of breaking down the golf swing into 10 parts. So my hip height, as I said, is hands at hip height. The club is obviously there vertical. A chest height, so you could have it as shoulder height. I tend to tell people chest because most of us, including me, swing longer than we're trying to. So I tend to tell people chest. So we're trying to get it in front of their chest, in front of their nipple, rather than up to shoulder, because shoulder might be getting a little bit too close to full. And I do have a full in there as well. I teach some golfers where actually their chest height is their full golf swing, so they won't have that swing length in there. Where I find most amateurs struggle is the shorter ones, is the knee and the pocket. Okay, those first two couple of positions, I tend to find they're better off when they get to the hip, the chest, the full, but that means they're really looking at 40 yards upwards, and the ones they're really struggling with are the 20, 30 yarders, those slightly shorter swings. So as I said, I work on a body height position, but you could easily work on it being a clock face, or you could work on it being a position 2, position 3, etc. As long as we've got some feel of that. Now, what it does take is some practice. So I'm very lucky here. I've got my GC2 launch monitor, my HMT monitor measuring everything to do with the club head, and I've got some real exact data. If you haven't got the ability or anywhere near you to go and actually get on these kind of systems, Flight Scope, TrackMan, GC2, then do it outside on a practice area where you can actually pace out the yardages. I try and work off carry distances. I want to know my total as well, but my carry is the most important on all these. So how far the ball's flying through the air. So somewhere where you can actually see it land, pace it out to that would be my preference if you're outside. Maybe even leaving your golf bag where you're hitting from and then lasering from the ball back to that bag. If you do use a laser for your distances, that can be really helpful. I'm just going to go ahead, finish just with a couple of these. So I know for me with my, and it better not let me down, my 58 degree at hip height, okay, that's my 40 yard flying distance. Okay, so it's finishing within 45. So I'm just going to try again, go ahead, hands to hip height, which should be a 40 yard shot for me with my 58 degree. Hey, look at that, it's not bad. It flew 39. I think you can let me off with that 1 yard. A little bit more roll on here. I've just set it to standard conditions. I don't think actually I'd get that much roll and release out on the golf course, but it of course does depend on time of year, the firmness of your greens. But I want you to go ahead and in front of a mirror patio window first, just try some swing lengths where you're trying first of all a knee height, a pocket height where the club is parallel to the ground, a hip height where the left hand gets to, a chest or a nipple height, and a full. Okay, so I've got 5 swing lengths. It might be that you feel more comfortable with 3 or 4. But if you've got 3 or 4 wedges in the bag, that's going to really build up a good repertoire of distances that you know you hit the ball. Of course, I also want to have a couple of practice swings through and just trying to visualize the ball flying and have I got the right club in there. So it's a blend of technical, a blend of natural. Okay, so I'm not saying we can't be that kind of player where we're feeling it, but I think it really helps if we know how far we're swinging back and how far that's going to produce. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try those swing lengths, as I said, in front of a patio window, a mirror, or get someone to film you. And then it's great to go out and actually hit those shots, work out your yardages and write them down. I hope that video's helped. I hope that's given you a few ideas of how you can track how far you hit your wedges. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure you give us a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel for free. There's lots of other social media outlets we're on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They're all coming along the bottom of the screen, so please make sure you check us out on there as well. Thanks, guys.